Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are in chapter number 3. We're going to talk about projects and files. And remember, this is from a series of movies that we have in our YouTube channel. Or if you want, you can go to our website and you can find all the videos of this mini training course. All right, so let's talk about files. What type of files can we import inside Nuke? And like I told you before, a lot of people think that Nuke is an application for editing video, and that's not right, okay? Nuke, it's a compositing application. It's not for editing video. If you want to edit video, I suggest you to use something like Adobe Premiere, for example, and that way you will work with video in one application that allows you to modify your video and do everything you want. But this one is just for compositing. I mean, you can bring video, you can bring all sorts of images, you can bring 3D objects, and then you can compose all that. And the thing is that I like to work with images because you have more freedom. You can pick exactly what you want. You have a better way of managing all these files. And but the thing is that now you can actually work with video directly inside Nuke. But there's one thing that I really don't like. But okay, let's go, and I want to show you how you can import video. As you can see here, I have this thing called Waterball. It's a video clip. You can see the size is 147. I can take it and I can drag and release, and right away you can see that I have this new tool inside my viewport, inside my node graph. I can take it, connect it to my viewer, and there we go. Now I can click and play. And there we go. We have our video playing perfectly fine. Okay. Now I'm going to double click on this object so that you can see that we have the frame range, and it's coming from frame number 0 to frame 1290. Okay. I can click here, and now this object is not showing me anything different. As you can see, I have only this thing called red1, and I have waterball, and it's giving me the name of the object, but I don't see the frame number. And that's one of the things that we can do with frames. If we have a sequence of images, we can actually see what image are we using right here inside my tool. And obviously right now we have only this video, so let's try something else. I'm going to select now another type of object, another type of video. It's a quick movie, a QuickTime movie. I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag that into my node graph, and you can see that it's taking more time. Actually, Nuke is kind of thinking, okay, what do you want? All right, it's still thinking. It's not giving me feedback. There we go. So now we have this object imported inside Nuke. I can take it, connect this one to my object, and now as you can see, it's still trying. It's trying to figure out what's going on. Now look at the size of this object. You can see 960 by 720. If I select this one and press 1, you can see that it's a different size. So this is actually a smaller version of, looks like it's the same footage, but probably this one was cut in, with a different format. And obviously we have less pixels, so Nuke has less information to calculate. And that's one thing to keep in mind. If you're going to work with objects that are 720, or your output is going to be 720, try to work with all your images with this format. I mean, if you have to think about the resolution that you're gonna need, and that way your process of managing your files is going to be a lot easier. And what I mean is that if you're going to be working with this type of objects and you have a 3D sequence coming from a 3D package, you have a sequence that is in HD. Why would you have that if the size is going to be 720? So what I will do, I'll suggest you to, is just first compress that, or make it reduce the size of all that information, and then bring it inside Nuke. We have a lot of different options for, you can work with proxies, you have options for lowering the resolution inside your viewport, but still, if you don't need that information, why you want to bring it? Now, obviously, Nuke is an application, more than anything, it's the main purpose of using Nuke is for film, so you're actually going to be working with big images, but just keep that in mind. Okay, we can obviously work in any type of format. It doesn't matter. You have the flexibility of modify all these parameters, but just keep in mind that if you want to have a smooth workflow, the best thing to do is optimize your footage before you import it. Now, another thing is that if I take this option and I connect it to this one, you can see because it's a bigger image, it's giving me a little bit of kind of trouble in order to reproduce this. And I don't know if Nuke is importing this and then is bringing the entire chunk of all that file, and all that file needs to be read before it starts to play in it. But I find out that working with this type of objects is a little bit more slower than working with images. So that's one of the reasons, one of the reasons that I don't like about working with video. But now I really like the way of working with sequence of images because I have more control. For example, right now I have another folder here called TIFF documents or TIFF images. So what I can do here is take this TIFF image, and it's 3.52 megabytes, so I can click, drag, and release, and here we go. We have our image right here. I can connect that to my viewer, and right away I can see that image, and you can see that it's a lot bigger, 1280 by 720. It's bigger than the other one that we had here. We have more pixels, and still is giving me it's reading this file more quickly. Now probably you're thinking, oh yeah, it's reading it more quickly because it's only one image. Well, actually that's kind of true, but at the same time is not, because I can bring the entire sequence and Nuke is gonna understand it perfectly, and it's gonna give me probably the first time I play it is gonna kind of wait a little bit, but after that it's gonna jump and start working pretty fast. So what I will do is now, if for example, if you try to do this import all these images like this, for example, let's take these 4 objects, and if I try to drag them all like this, what I'm gonna get is 4 different files, as you can see, and that's not what we want, because obviously if I do this, what I'm gonna have is actually 4 different objects, and I'm not gonna have a sequence that can actually play. And obviously I can create that using all these, but it's gonna take me, it's gonna be a pain. What we can do is actually import our sequence of images using another way, actually the same tool. So I'm gonna press R in order to call that. And one thing to keep in mind is that, as you can see here, I'm in the same folder. This is 133 megabytes, and it's called part 3. Then I have this padding kind of these numbers, these symbols. Then I have a dot, and then I have the extension of this type of file. And I can see that I have 38 frames from 1 to 38. And if I go to my folder, my regular folder, you can see that it's the same name, part 3, and I have number 1, number 2, 3, etc., until 38. Okay, so now why I can see the different objects. I can see only one here. Well, that is because I have this option here called sequences. So if you want to see all your objects, you need to uncheck this mark, okay? And that way you can see all your objects. Now the problem is that if you do that and you select one of these objects and you try to open that, you're gonna have only one file, which is the same case. It's like if I was just clicking and dragging one of these ones. So that's not what I want. I'm gonna press R again, and then I'm gonna go here, select sequences. I have only one file. I'm gonna select this one, and then I'm gonna press open. Now looks like I have one single image, right? Well, now let me connect this one here, and then I'm gonna hit play. And now you can see that this is a bigger image. As you can see, it's 1280 by 720, but it's playing like I told you. It's quick, and it's not thinking a lot. It's just giving me feedback, and that's what I like about using this type of this workflow, using sequence of images. Now another thing is that you can go here, go closer, and now you can see that I have the name of the file, and it's actually showing me what frame I'm looking at. Right now I am at frame 35, so I can go here and say, okay, this is frame number 20. I can say this is number 10, and Nuke is gonna refresh this and is gonna give me that hint. So it's just another cool thing that I like about working with frames, because I can actually see that right away inside my graph, my node graph. Now some of you at the beginning are gonna be probably thinking that if you switch this, for example, right now I have this, and I can go here to my properties, and now you can see that I have original range 1 to 38, so it's 38 images. If I try to move, you know, I'm gonna take this one, for example, and I'm gonna connect that. Just select, press 1. Now, if I go, a lot of people think that when you connect this to the viewer, this object is going to change, but actually not. All right. So as you can see here, I am looking at read number 4, and still I have the original frame 1 to 38 because this is read number 4, and this one is read number 1. That's one thing to keep in mind, because I find that a lot of people is getting confused with this. They think that, okay, I connected this, and now this is these are the parameters of this object because it's the one that is selected. No, that's not true. You have to double click in order to get to that one. So I double click on this. Now you can see that I have read number 1, and then I can start I can manipulate this object. I have 1290 frames. I have a lot of frames in this sequence. Now you can see how my timeline is changing. Now I have 1000 here, 1290, 500. Then I can, if I select this one again, press 1, my timeline is changing right away because I have this option set to input. If you want, you can change that to global, and that way if I connect this one, for example, I can connect this object here. You can see that now I'm connecting this one, but this thing is not changing because it's now set to global, so it's using the option that I had before. I can change this to input again, and now this is going to look at the input of this object. I mean, if the input is 3000, it's going to give me 3000. If the input is, in this case, 1, and I connect this one, I'm going to get only 1 frame, as you can see. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, let me select this. Let's connect that. And as you can see, we can import TIFF files. We imported some video. I already showed you, well, I imported different type of objects. I can go here to footage, and let's see, I have some other objects. For example, here I have this one. It's a BMP, a bitmap image. I can take it. It's a texture from a 3D object. So I can try to bring that, and as you can see, it's taking a while to show me that image. And the image is 12 megabytes big and in size. It's actually a pretty big image, but you can see that Nuke can work with this without a problem. So I have all these textures here. Now there's other type of objects that you can import. Obviously, for example, I can take this one, concept monster, is a Cinema 4D object, a file. So I can try to import this, and as you can see, it works, right? Looks like it's working. I have this, and I have concept monster here, Cinema 4D file, and I have my viewer, and it's not giving me an error message. So just keep that in mind. If sometimes you import something in Nuke and you get this type of object where you don't see anything, is because Nuke doesn't have the ability to recognize that. Now, in a lot of cases, you're going to have an error message, and that's when Nuke knows that doesn't support that format. And sometimes, let me see if we can get that from here. If I go, I don't know, there should be something here that the Nuke cannot use. So, well, I really don't know which one, but when you want to have errors, you don't have errors, and then when you don't want them, they appear all of a sudden. So we can import, for example, PSD files, Photoshop files. I can select, for example, this one called Planet. Let's open it, and now you can see I have my PSD file. You can import, obviously, if we go here, I should have footage. I should have something different. Green screen. I have this one is a JPG image. I can import this kind too. And actually we have a lot of different formats. PNG, we can import GIF files, and almost all the formats, Cineon, HDR images from the Red Cam, a lot of different options. So keep that in mind. When you're working with images, you are more flexible, and you have a wide range of importing images. Whether if you're using video, you're going to be restricted to some formats only, and then the workflow is not going to be the most accurate, okay, the greatest. Now, another thing that I want to talk about in this section is about the scripts. Now, what is a script? Obviously, you know that a script is something that you can write, right? And then you can play with that, or you can execute that script and it's going to do something. And when we work in Nuke, obviously you have options for, write your own scripts in here. But another thing is that we call our files, our Nuke files, we call them scripts. So for example, if I go here, well, actually, I'm going to go, and for example, if I try to save this, I can go here and save this as. So what I'm going to get after saving this is I'm going to get one file called, well, I can give it a name, my script, right? And then I have to give it an extension, which is going to be nk. And that's going to be the extension that I'm going to be using. And now what I did is I just saved one file, right? But that file is called a script. So now we saved a script. In Nuke, we're going to refer to these files as scripts. Now we can open our script, and when we open our script, what we will have is a project. So now this is my project, and we have to manage our project because, like I told you before, we need to have a nice workflow. If we're going to be working with HD, well, we need to set up our project as an HD project. What I will do is I'm going to press the letter S, okay? Then if you press S when you are in this area in your graph, in your node graph, you're going to call the project settings. But if you are here, for example, in the viewport and you press the letter S, you're going to get the viewer settings. So it's one thing that you have to keep in mind, all right? If I want to deal with my project settings, I will press S right here. So now we have our project settings in this area. You can see the name of the object actually is all that, because that's where this project is located. Then we have the project directory, and you can actually the same thing. Just click on this one. You can go to the project directory. You can see the directory, the script directory. Like I told you, you are dealing with scripts here. You can type a comment in this area if you want. You can say things like, this is my first script. Okay, so you can type whatever you want. Then we have the option to use specify the frame range. Okay, in this case, it's going to be from 1 to 38. So I can say, you know what, I want 1,000 frames, and that doesn't matter. Now I have here only one frame, but my project is going to be, I'm allowing my project to go from 1 to 1,000. Then I can change the frame rate. Now let me change this to global, for example. And now you can see that if I change that to global, I'm looking at 1,000 because that's what I am specifying here. So remember, the ABI file, we have 1,200 something. If I go here, no, I'm restricting everything to only 1,000 frames, okay? And so on. You have the frames per second. If you want, you can change that to 30 frames per second, and now everything is going to be adjusted to that frame rate. Then you have the full size format. In this case, we are using 2048, but you can change that. Let's say, for example, we want to work with HD. You select this one. Obviously, you can see that nothing is changing here, all right? But this is our full size format. Then if we import something, well, in another movie, I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about formatting, because this one is, we are getting to the end of this chapter. So I just want you to know that here you can change all the different settings for your format. Okay, you can change to NTSC, PAL, for video, in PC video, all the smaller formats that we used to use a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But here all the CinemaScope, 2K, 4K, and different aspect ratios. In here we have some options for using proxies. Like I told you, if you're going to be working, for example, with big images, with a lot of data, what I recommended to you is that you can actually set a proxy mode, which means that you're going to be using a reference of that image. You are not actually using the entire, all the data, and that's going to make your life easier working inside this area. Now, this is not the only way of that we can specify the proxy, but in here you can use that based on the scale or based on the format. And now, before this movie is almost okay, let's move on. We're gonna go to the lot, and here we have the lookup tables, and this one allows you to, you can see how the color space is gonna be assigned. So for monitor, you can use the standard RGB values. Then you for 8-bit files, you can use the same one, or you can change that to linear. And now, for example, in this one, because I'm changing an 8-bit image, I'm changing that to the color space to linear. You can see how everything is changing here. So if I want, I can change that to Cineon, and it's giving me a different type of settings. And remember, this is a topic that we need to talk about this in compositing. It's not actually something that we should discuss right, like it's not a Nuke thing, all right? It's a compositing concept. So for now, I'm just going to change that to standard one more time. But like I told you, you have here all the specifications for every single type of file that we can use. We have the for log files, for example. You can go and change from Cineon or another option, float files, etc., etc. Then you have here the representations of the curve that you can, so that way you can see actually the how this is looking. Every single one linear, it's obviously flat like this. Then we have our views, and we're going to talk about that probably later when we talk about because the main purpose, I like to show this area working with 3D. But for now, okay, we have another option here for Python. We can script load our scripts, and well, we can give instructions here, for example. And basically, that's what I wanted to show you in this movie. We know how to set up our projects. We know how to import objects. Now you have a better understanding of what type of files you can import inside Nuke. And we talk about the global input, different cool things that are gonna let you work easier inside this application. For now, that's it. Thank you very much. Remember, please subscribe to our channel and click on the like button if you like the videos. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you in our next movie. Bye bye for now.